Hey guys, David Robinson here. Really excited about our guest in our episode today. I've got Jorge Abreu with me. George, welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, David. Thanks for having me.
So George is a full-time multifamily real estate investor and CEO of Elevate Commercial Group. He focuses on 100-unit C and B class properties and also does new development projects. He has acquired over 5,000 doors, just shy of 6,000 doors and 400 million in assets under management. He is also the CEO of JNT Construction, which focuses on helping multifamily investors with their due diligence and full renovations. So, George, as I always say, that's a very short bio. And, our podcast is all about the journey. So we'd love to back up and hear a little bit about your backstory, how you got into the real estate investing world and ultimately into multifamily syndication. And then we can take it from there.
Absolutely. So, I guess it started back in college, right? I decided to study to be an electrical engineer, and there really was no passion there. I decided to do that because I was good at math. I was good with numbers. So that was the path I took. But a couple years into it, I knew I didn't want to be an engineer. I knew I didn't want to sit in a cubicle or just I wanted to be a part of something bigger. And that's when I started looking into owning my own business and what that was going to be, and did a lot of research on successful individuals. And I kept coming across real estate. They either built their wealth that way or they created more of it using real estate. So I started looking into, okay, how do I invest in real estate? Got my real estate license, my mortgage broker license, which I then realized I didn't have to, but I don't know. I thought that was the path. And then finally ran into a single family real estate investing coach, Ron LeGrand, for anybody in that industry. He's been around for forever. And paid for him to be my coach and started doing some deals. By that time, I had graduated with my degree and I was working at UPS in the engineering department, still knowing that that's not what I was going to do. Finally did enough deals on the real estate side where, I felt like I was actually losing money by being at my W-2. So I quit. That was about 16 years ago now. Started doing single family full time, we did a lot of fix and flips and wholesales. That's what kind of pushed me to open the construction company. I ran into the bottleneck of contractors, and I was trying to push 50 plus fix and flips per year. So started the construction company. It worked. We were able to scale and pump out quite a bit. Started doing small multifamily, new construction. At one point, I found myself stretched pretty thin. The construction company was taking on a life of its own as well, and I had started a roofing division within the construction company. So there was a lot going on, and that was around the same time I got introduced to multifamily syndications. And that really opened my eyes into, wow, I can instantly scale buying 100 plus units, and I don't need to have millions of dollars myself. I can bring together partners and take it down like that. So I quickly began to transition everything to focus all my time towards multifamily with the construction company, with the investments. I cut the fat wherever I could. I really started focusing on building the multifamily portfolio. That was about 4.5 years ago. And like you mentioned, since then we've acquired close to about 6,000 units, exited out of about 1,500 of those, and goal is to hit 10,000 this year. I see no reason why we can't, and continue to grow from there.
All right. Well, you make it sound super easy. I'm sure you hadn't
Uh,
had any roadblocks along the way or anything
yeah,
like that,
no,
right?
none. No, it was completely paid off for me. And
Well, look, you're being very modest when you explain what you've done. I mean, you started 4 years ago, and you didn't ramp up to there wasn't equal increments of 6,000 units acquired in that first year compared to what you've done in the last year. I'm assuming. So there was this ramp up period, but I mean, to think about what you've accomplished in the last 3 years, um, what does it take? I mean, there's a lot of people that get into this space. They have an interest in getting into multifamily. They have big visions of what they want to accomplish, but not everybody is able to go and acquire 6,000 units in, we'll call it 3 years. What is different about you than maybe other people who have the same dream?
I would say taking action. It's some individuals do the right thing as far as going to get the knowledge. They will even hire coaching, which is not a bad idea, right? Learning from others' experiences and fast track things. But without you actually putting that into action, it's just not going to happen. I mean, I see it all the time. Even when I started with the single family, we would go to these seminars and we'd see the same people over and over, and they hadn't done anything, and yet we've done over 1 million in real estate within a couple months. And it's because I don't waste time. I take the information, I let it process, and then I know what I need to do, and I come up with a plan and do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very simply and well said. It's literally about just taking action. Here's the challenge: many people get stuck in a place of fear in the unknown. There's a lot of moving parts as you step into the commercial multifamily realm, and so they can be paralyzed by all the unknowns that are there. You clearly have been able to push through it, and many others have, especially in a volatile real estate market over the last 3 years. I mean, you came into the space, and then we've had chaos for the last 3 years, right?
Yep.
So, is there anything that, as it relates to taking action in dealing with all the unknowns around commercial real estate, do you have any strategies, tactics, tips, practices that you've developed to be able to take decisive action in the face of all the unknowns and all the unpredictability in the business?
Yeah. To answer that quickly, yes. Look, I think one, you need to have your goals, right? You start with the goals. How big do you want to get? How quick do you want to get there? Who are you going to need to get there? And don't discount the systems you're going to need to also get there, especially if you want to scale. Then you're going to set your criteria, right? What type of properties are you going after? Look, especially now, there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of, industrial's looking great. Oh, storage looks great. This looks great. The first decision I made was I'm going to own multifamily. Like, I'm going to go in that space and I'm going to take over that space in a sense. Do I like other asset classes? Yes. And do I get excited at some stuff? Yes. But I don't let it distract me. First things first, I'm going to build a massive portfolio in multifamily. And then once that's built out and I've got all the systems and I want to go after other stuff, sure. Why not? And then staying true to that criteria, whatever it is, go after those things. At the same time, make sure that you're flexible because, like you said, the market's going to change. The real estate cycle, we all know that's what it goes through, right? You've got to be flexible at times if you're going to keep doing deals through every phase in the cycle. There's money to be made at all phases, but you've got to be able to flex.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk right now, and just on this topic of being flexible. Deals are becoming leaner and leaner. People are having to be more aggressive than they have in years past. And I had an opportunity to listen in on a panel discussion of a few really impressive operators. And a couple of them have sat on the sidelines the last 3 years, stating, each year, hey, the market's shifting, people are being too aggressive. Then the other operator said, hey, I've been in the game. Yes, I've had to adjust and be flexible. But if I had sat on the sidelines, there was a lot of opportunity left on the sidelines if I wasn't playing in the game. We're always careful about saying, hey, we're pushing our limits on underwriting or, our assumptions about what's happening in the market. Is there a healthy balance of pushing those assumptions to get deals done while still trying to remain conservative?
I think
do you find yourself having to work that balance?
Always, man, always. As you know, it's all about the assumptions you make in your pro forma, whether something looks like a deal or not, right? There's a lot of things that can be pulled on to make those returns look different. So yeah, you got to be careful. I don't want anybody to think that we're super aggressive on our underwriting either. I mean, we stay pretty true to our overall objective is to buy at a low basis. So we think the money's made on the purchase, even in multifamily. So that's one thing that we're always after is a low basis. On top of that, the locations, we want to make sure we don't get burned because we went into the wrong area. That's one, which everything looks like a great location right now, right? But you got to dig one step further and see why it looks like that. What if those rent bumps are sustainable? If what companies are coming there? What is driving the economy? If something was to go wrong in whatever sector, is it going to affect the financials? But yeah, you've got to find that healthy balance because at the same time, right, you can not be flexible on some of this stuff and change as the market goes, and then you're on the sidelines, like you said. And
right.
How does that look when you look at the inflation and the fact that you just kept all this money out of real estate when you should have had it in there?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know you've got a busy day today, and I want to be respectful of your time, but there's another topic that I want to cover with you, which is you've leaned heavily into building strategic partnerships. And it seems, that you're not shying away from that. You're really going hard at really trying to connect with quality people and build strategic partnerships that can help you get to your 10,000 units this year. Any advice or any thoughts you have on finding and partnering with quality people?
Yes. I've learned over the years, 16 years of owning my own businesses and partners and hiring employees, starts with the people. And I know you hear that a lot, but it's so true. Like, you've got to make sure that your morals and your core values align with that individual is number one. If they don't go any further. I mean, and then, you've got to vet them. You've got to do your homework. And you got to decide if it's for you. I mean, partnering with others isn't for everybody. But it's one way that I found to scale, versus taking on the overhead and hiring this massive team right away. The way we've had success is finding strategic partnerships, growing in that sense, and then while growing our internal team as well. And it's worked.
What's obviously you mentioned 10,000 units in 2022. What's the future of Elevate Commercial Investment Group beyond maybe 2022? What are you building?
Yeah, so I mean, I want to start holding on to more of the properties, and really, I mean, my large goal is to get somewhere closer to the 100,000 units. So, my plan is to continue to grow exponentially every year.
And from a geographic perspective, you guys mainly focus on Texas, Houston market. Is that correct?
We have a good portion of our portfolio in Houston and Dallas, but we're open to going after the deals, where we feel it's priced right and the market has room for growth. We've had a lot of success in smaller submarkets as well. We are selling one right now in Augusta, Georgia, which we acquired at about 50 a door and selling it for 105 a door, I want to say, within 1 year. We've got another one in Oklahoma, a smaller market there, and it's doing amazing. So majority in Texas, but we also own in Oklahoma, Georgia, closing a deal in South Carolina today as we speak. Florida, we've got one under contract in Florida and continuing to grow there. So, and that's with the strategic partners too. It helps as
Sure.
One of the main things we have is investors looking for deals for us, and then they bring it to us, and if we like it, we help them get it closed.
Yeah. I want to start winding down here so I can get you out on time so you can get to your closing. But a couple final questions for you. The first is, what's the biggest challenge that you're facing right now in your business that we could all learn from?
It's now I'm at the point where I'm building that internal team. So just making sure to structure those pieces and the responsibilities and make sure that I'm laying that foundation for growth. It's not really a struggle. I mean, I have a good idea of what we need to do and how we need to do it, but it's definitely something that I suggest everybody thinks about ahead of time and begin to implement those systems, and while still taking action. Like I want to stress not to overthink things, and I have investors come to me and start talking to me like in depth about their website, and they need to do this with their website and that before they start doing anything. And no, you don't. Like take the action. And I don't want to say, what I'm trying to say is, don't necessarily just wait till it gets to a point where you need to figure it out. Like while you're taking action, also be building those systems along the route.
Yeah, great advice. What's one thing that you're just absolutely knocking out of the park in your business right now that we could all learn from?
I think our two strong points are acquisitions. So being able to locate those deals, analyze them quickly, and really get aggressive when we like something, and then implementing the business plan. Once we actually do close on it, not wasting any time and getting in there and taking care of business.
Yeah. I think you're developing a pretty strong reputation for being a team that can go and do that, get in there and really knock out projects at a high level and efficiently. Well, look, George, I've enjoyed our conversation. I appreciate you, giving us a little bit of insight into your world and what it's looked like over the last, few years. It's really been incredible what you and your team have accomplished in a very short period of time. And what's the best way for our listeners to connect with you, learn more about what you have going on at Elevate?
Best way is probably our website. We keep it updated, pretty recent. So elevatecig.com is the website. They can also shoot me an email. It's George, or spelled Jorge, Jorge, at elevatecig.com. If they email me that they heard me on this podcast, I will send them some free content. Got a bunch of checklists and different material that they can use.
Cool. Great. We'll have links to that in the show notes. So if you're listening right now and you've enjoyed the conversation that we've had with George and you want to learn more about what they have going on, go down in the show notes right now, click on one of those links, connect with George and his team. Again, George, a privilege to have you on the show. Thank you for sharing a little bit about your journey with us. And I wish you the best on your path to 10,000 and look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it, man.